I am going to be reading a bunch of romance. It's a romance reading vlog and I'm really excited. If you guys watched last week's vlog, you will know that I watched Sex Life on Netflix. I was completely obsessed and I was in the middle of a sci-fi reading vlog, and after watching that, all I wanted to do is read romance, and I knew I had a romance reading vlog planned for this week, and I honestly just want to read so much. Now, I'm starting this on Tuesday, so we only have 6 days to read all of this romance, but I'm so excited. So I have 2 buddy reads this week. I'm going to be starting the first of them today, and that one is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This is, I'm going to assume that it's a new adult because Red, White and Royal Blue was a new adult romance, but I will let you know later on if that is not the case. But I'm assuming this is a new adult female contemporary romance with a little bit of a sci-fi twist, because of the 2 people in the relationship in this book, one of them is trapped on a train. I think it's the subway. Now that is all I know about this, but when I read Red, White and Royal Blue, I was really happy when I read the synopsis of this, because the thing with Red, White and Royal Blue is that I was very pleasantly surprised. I didn't think I was going to like really love it. And the premise of Red, White and Royal Blue is like pretty much based on politics. It's a romance between one of the princes of the United Kingdom and the son of the president of the United States. And a lot of that political stuff I wasn't super interested in because it was from the perspective of the son of the United States, and I don't know much more than basics on US politics because it is not the country that I live in. So a lot of that went right over my head, but because this has a little bit of a sci-fi twist, like a time travel twist, I'm hoping that I really do enjoy this one. So I'm buddy reading this with Cassie from Sassy Cassie. Cassie also gifted this to me for my birthday. She pre-ordered it for me, so thank you so much, Cassie, for that. And we are going to be reading 4 chapters a day. So our first section is going to be 83 pages, and then we will be set to finish this on Friday, which works pretty well. So I am hosting Patreon sprints tonight. They are going to be starting in around 30 minutes, and I'm hoping that I can get through today's section of this and then make a start on something else, because like I said, I want to read a ton of romance. My other buddy read is Act Your Age, Eve Brown, which I need to properly enunciate because I keep saying Act Your Eve, Eve Brown. It's really annoying. I can't stop myself from doing it, and a lot of the time I only notice in editing. But I'm buddy reading that with Simon from Savage Reads, and I will be starting that tomorrow. And I want to pick up something else, but I have no idea what it is I'm gonna pick up. But I just want to read so much romance, guys. So much romance. I'm so in the mood for it, and I just hope that I can get a whole ton of stuff read this week while I'm in this mood. And I'm riding the high from Sex Life, and I just want to binge romance. That's all I want.
When you're gonna pick up, call too many times, text back saying sorry I'm drunk, why do I even try, argue in circles for hours, cause what else can we do? Seems so sweet when it started, but now it's overgrown. I break my back trying to fix this and still end up alone, but I'll keep trying and trying till it splits me in two.
I have 23 minutes left of our third sprint, I think, of the evening, and I have read today's section of One Last Stop. So this is pretty much exactly what I said it was. Our main character is a girl called August. She has a past that she's very much not necessarily running away from, but she's not somebody who forms attachments to things. And the reason why is that her mother's brother went missing in like 1970 something, I think, which actually is quite interesting and may link up to the plot of this now that I think about it. August's mother has spent her entire life trying to track down her brother, and because of that she's taught August how to do things like look for clues and observe people and like help her out in finding information on why her brother went missing. So August does not form attachment. She doesn't have a lot of material possessions, and one day she transfers to college in New York and she moves in with a group of people that she actually quite likes, which is new for her because she never really had friends. And she gets a job at a diner and she takes the same train to and from college every day. She meets Jane, who is this like tall, beautiful woman in like ripped jeans and a leather jacket, and and she starts to have a thing for Jane, and it seems that Jane likes her back. However, anytime August asks her to go out on a date or like for a drink or anything, and like tries to initiate any like further contact past this train ride, Jane has to decline. And the reason for that, obviously, we know, and where I'm up to, the main character is just starting to realize, although she thinks it's really weird and doesn't quite believe it, but the reason is that Jane is stuck on the train and she's from another decade. So I'm really enjoying this so far. I really like the side characters, which are pretty much the people that August lives with. I still find it really jarring in Casey McQuiston books that they are third person. I don't know why, because like the Talia Hibbert books are third person, but in these I just always feel like they should be first person. It's like not even just at the beginning of the book as I adjust into it. Every time I pick it up I get confused again because it's third person. It's really weird, but I love all of the side characters, and I'm really intrigued how they're going to pull this off, because I obviously want to know why as a fantasy reader as well. I want to know exactly why and how Jane is stuck on this train in the 70s, or like she's from the 70s. Why is she stuck on this train? I'm hoping that Casey McQuiston pulls this off well in a way that I'm satisfied with, as somebody who's used to reading fantasy and sci-fi and is always like wanting logical explanations for this. Like I don't want it to be just like swept under the rug as something that exists and happened and we just roll with it. That would be worst case scenario for me. But I'm done with my buddy read section for the day. As I mentioned, I'm only starting Eve Brown tomorrow, and my patrons have led me astray. So I pretty much said in my sprints exactly what I said to you guys about how I'm doing a romance vlog this week, and I have 2 buddy reads but I don't know what else to read, and I mentioned like a few authors that I would be interested in reading this week, and somebody recommended that I read Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. Now while I do want to read Penelope Douglas, I was kind of gonna go with a Colleen Hoover, because Colleen Hoover books are in my 30 books to read before 30 video that I made in like late May, early June, and I still have not read a book off that list. So I was gonna read a Colleen Hoover, but then loads of people in the chat started saying like, yes, read Penelope Douglas, Punk 57 is really good. So I looked to see if it was on Kindle Unlimited, because I know Penelope Douglas isn't on Scribd unless you want audio, which I don't, and I was going to possibly reactivate my Kindle Unlimited subscription to read it, but I didn't really want to, you know, because I have books I could read. I don't need to reactivate Kindle Unlimited right now. I searched it and it is actually on Prime Reading, and I have Amazon Prime, so I don't even need Kindle Unlimited. So I guess I'm going to be starting this. I don't really know the plot of it, but I know it's a bully romance, and it's a new adult romance, but it's set in high school. I think it's smutty, but the characters are 18. This will be my first time, I think, reading a bully romance. The only kind of like bully themes I guess I've read would be enemies to lovers, where the characters are mean to each other, and that would be in like a fantasy setting, so it's a little bit more brutal than your normal enemies to lovers, because it normally includes like near-death experiences and them trying to kill each other. But this is my first time reading a contemporary bully romance. So 343 pages. I've heard it's pretty addictive, and I read Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas and loved it, even though I don't like age gap romances. So let's see how my first bully romance goes, I guess. I will give you a bit more information on the plot when I've actually started it. So I'm not sure exactly how far in I am, but I think I'm around page 140 in Punk 57, and I'm actually really enjoying it. So we are following 2 people, Misha and Ryan, and they have been pen pals since they were 11, but they have kind of like no contact rules, so they haven't searched each other on social media. They don't know what each other looks like, and they've never met even though they live in neighboring towns. So Misha is in a band and he's doing this fundraiser, and while he's looking through the applications, like the submissions for this scavenger hunt for the fundraiser on Facebook, he sees that one of the names of the posters is the girl Ryan that he's been writing to since he was 11. So he clicks on her because he's really excited that she might be there, and they end up meeting. He doesn't tell her who he is, and shortly after that something terrible happens to Misha's family, which means that he stops reaching out to Ryan and stops writing to her. So it flashes forward 3 months where Ryan has not heard from Misha in all this time. She has no idea that the guy that she met on that night is in fact him, and she's still writing him letters. Now he is like this punk indie guy in a band, and she is a cheerleader. However, the cheerleader thing and the really vapid attitude she has is a front for who she really is because of things that have happened in her past. So for some reason Misha appears at her school under a different name, which is Mason, and he just turns up. He's like a new student, but he doesn't behave like a a normal student, and he very clearly has his own goals that are not disclosed to the reader. Like, I think where I'm at now, I know what they are, but we don't know why he's there, and neither does Ryan. And he is just awful to her because of some of the stuff that's happened to him and some of the blame that he puts on himself for that night where they met, and also because he doesn't understand how this girl that he's really come to care for through the form of letters can be somebody completely different to who she is presenting at school, where she will like tease people and also allow people to get bullied. So he starts to be really awful to her and she's really awful to him back. I'm really loving it. It is exactly what I wanted, like the angsty, dramatic, problematic romance that I needed in my soul right now. Obviously, like I said, angsty, dramatic, problematic. Obviously this is problematic, like it's a bully romance. They are being literally terrible to each other, but we all know that I just eat that shit up. I love it. I love it. I have no excuses for myself. I just really enjoy it, okay? So I'm currently reading 2 books now. So I'm 83 pages into One Last Stopper and 140 pages into Punk 57. And I'm going to be starting another book very soon. I think, I'm not sure actually, because I've just filmed Bookopoly and I need to edit it. And I have one more thing for somebody else that I need to film. But I'm buddy reading Act Your Age, Eve Brown with Simon this month. And we are starting today. And I think we're reading 5 chapters a day for 4 days, and then the last day we'll have 6 chapters. But oh my god, this has not been cut properly. There we go. So I have to read 68 pages of this today. This one was also a gift from Becca, so thank you so much, Becca, for sending this to me. But I have to read 60 pages of this, 110 pages of One Last Stop, and then the book that I'm most into, Punk 57, is the one that's like the least priority because it's not a buddy read, and it's the one that I'm like desperate to get back to. But Act Your Age, Eve Brown is the last book in the Brown Sisters trilogy. This is a contemporary like rom-com style romance, and each book in the series follows one of the Brown sisters. So I don't actually know too much about the plot of this one, but Eve is the most, I want to say, fun sister. She is the most, I don't know how to describe it. I was going to say like free sister from what we've seen of her in the other books, but I'm really excited because I do think I'm really gonna love Eve. And the love interest in this is an uptight B&B owner, and I think that the trope is going to be hate to love, but I cannot say for sure, and I will of course let you guys know when I've actually started it a little bit more about the plot of Eve Brown. But now I'm going to go and see, actually no, I'm going to film the thing that I need to film. And then I forgot to take my breakfast pot out of the freezer last night, so I woke up at 7:30 this morning. Really weird morning actually. I woke up at 7:30, went downstairs to take my breakfast pot out, and at midday it still wasn't defrosted. We're now like almost at 2 p.m, so I'm hoping it's defrosted because I really want to eat it. Got back in bed, was intending on just reading in bed for an hour and getting up at about 9. I read a chapter of Punk 57 and went back to sleep, and then got up at 10. I also have a vet appointment. Well, I don't. Hamilton has a vet appointment at around 4 p.m. today, so I have to take him to that a little bit later on, and I want to edit Bookopoly as well as all of my reading. And I also have a fortnight date with Ryan tonight. Ryan has had COVID and tomorrow is his last day of isolation, so he wants to play Fortnite tonight because I am unavailable tomorrow. It's the Buffy watch along, so I got a lot going on today. I also want to work out, and I'm reading 3 books, and I really want to have them all finished by Saturday because the way that the days fall this month, my wrap up is going to be posted on Sunday, which means I need to film it on Saturday, the last day of the month, and I'm going to be like in the middle of 3 books if I don't like get my act together. Hello, my Waterstones order has arrived and I'm really happy about it. Something about looking at myself in the viewfinder then reminded me that I don't think I'm moisturized. I'm gonna have to go back upstairs and do that. But let's see what we have. I actually don't know what's in here. I think I ordered 5 books, but I don't know whether they're all coming together, and one of them said usually delivered within 10 days. This has 3 in it. That's weird. Why would there be 3 and not 4? Anyway, they're all things that I need really, apart from one of them, arguably 2. But we have Witch Shadow by Susan Dennard. This is, I thought it was purple. I'm actually really sad that it's not purple. Maybe the US cover's purple. But Witch Shadow by Susan Dennard. I wish this had arrived yesterday because I filmed my Bookopoly and I had to insert images for the books that I ordered that are on my CBR. This is the 4th book in the Witchland series, like YA, upper YA fantasy, and I'm co-host of the Witchlands Long. This is the book for July, but the live show is going to be the 1st Saturday, so I think it's the 8th. No, the 7th. The 7th of August on Jay's channel, once again, I think. So I'm going to be reading this next week. And then we have just 2 paperbacks. Watch this be book 2 as well, not book 1. No, it is book 1. So I ordered the first 2, I think I got the first 2. This one in particular will be the book that we're reading in August and September, I think, and the live show for this one will be in October. But this one, I think the main characters of this one is dragons, and it's kind of a continuation of the story of the live ship traders, but not necessarily following the same characters, although I do think there will be character appearances in this one. So I think I ordered, where's my invoice? I think I ordered the second one as well. Yeah, this just has the ones that are in this, but I'm sure I ordered the first 2 in this one. I also can't get the really nice old covers. Do I have one here? These don't exist past the 21 series, so I'm just on the normal covers now, and I'm really sad about it. And then I also ordered a contemporary romance. This one's The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. The other one I ordered is the Bromance Book Club, and that one I intend to read for a certain video I'm going to be doing, but it said on Waterstones usually dispatched within 10 days, so if it doesn't arrive in time I will be reading The Kiss Quotient instead. But essentially I wanted a like standard contemporary romance, kind of Brown Sisters style of romance, you know, that kind of like general romance rom-com kind of feel. And I asked Steph for recommendations, and she recommended this and the Bromance Book Club. This one is about, I think it's about an autistic woman who does her mother want her to get married? So does she hire a guy to teach her about love? Yeah, she has Asperger's, and to overcome her lack of dating experience, she decides to hire a male escort to teach her about love. So I have that one as well. And I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna have to check my order now, but I am pretty sure that I ordered the second Rainworld Chronicles book as well. But this is my book haul. Hey, so I'm gonna give you a little bit of an update on what I have been reading, which is everything. Haven't finished anything yet, but I've been caught in the rain twice today. I went to get my nails done this morning. We have like Casterly tips on these, and I've also changed to a stiletto tip, which I've wanted stilettos for a while, but I had to adjust to having really long nails before I could get anything close to a stiletto, because my nail beds are so wide. They'd have to, for a true like thin stiletto, they'd have to be really, really long. But I absolutely love them, and I'm so happy. Like, it just feels good getting some new nails. It's a matte finish as well, and it's a really nice like velvety matte. I'm a big fan. But I've fallen a little bit behind. So Punk 57, I think I'm dead on halfway through. I think I'm around page 188. Read a chapter yesterday morning and a chapter yesterday on my lunch. Both were very smutty scenes, and I enjoyed them a lot. And I would say that that is the book that I'm actually enjoying the most at the minute, just because it did hit that spot for the angsty dramatic romance that I'm looking for. But it is the one that I'm least able to read right now, because the other 2 are buddy reads. But fingers crossed I will be able to dive back into Punk 57 sometime soon. But the one that I've already spoken to you about a little bit, One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I'm now behind on my read of this. I should be finishing this today, but I'm currently on page 228, and by today I should be on page 312 with only this much left to read tonight. Sadly, that is not the case, but I'm enjoying this one okay. But I think because it has that sci-fi twist, I'm constantly like focusing on that and the mystery of like how exactly this girl got stuck on the train, and that is like the majority of what I care about in here. And anything that isn't that, I'm getting annoyed by, just because I really want to know how Jane got stuck on this train when she should be in the 70s. I will say that something with Casey McQuiston just in general is that they have very long chapters, very long chapters. I read a chapter of this morning and it was 40 pages, I think. I find these books a little bit too long. Like, I don't feel like a lot of the information in here is necessary or making me enjoy the book anymore, I guess, because this is like 415 pages and it also has relatively small text, so I do wish that it was trimmed a little bit. I did feel the same. I think I mentioned at the beginning that I felt pretty much the same about Red, White and Royal Blue, but in that it had all of the political stuff which made sense to the context of the story. This has extra stuff as well, and I think Casey McQuiston deals with a large cast of characters really well, because my favorite element of this is actually the roommates that August moves in with, and I really love those. There's also a psychic in here. It is very queer. One of my favorite characters is the drag queen who lives across across the hall. And I do love all of these additional elements a little bit more than I'm vibing with the romance at the minute. I think I'm just not feeling a whole ton of chemistry between the characters, and I'm at like the halfway point now. So I wish that I was feeling that a little bit more. I'm excited for the romantic conflict in this book, assuming that there is going to be one, because I remember not expecting such a moment of like high level angst in Red, White and Royal Blue, and when it came I was actually really satisfied by that. So I hope we have a similar experience in this one. And I will say that the romantic scene that I've just read in the last chapter, I did enjoy that one as well. And then At Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. So this one, the final book in the Brown Sisters series, it follows the youngest sister Eve, and Eve is very flighty. She doesn't stick to anything. She's had many different pursuits. She's been to performing art school, she's learned to bake, she's had many different like business forays, many different jobs. The most recent one was in event planning, and she's scared to fail really, so she pretty much gives up on everything she does before she can fail. She had this events planning business, and after something that happened at this wedding that she planned, she just quit the business, got rid of it, and her parents pull her in and tell her that they're cutting her off. She will not have access to her trust fund anymore because she's abusing it, and the point of the trust fund was actually just to be a fallback, and her sisters are working hard and doing fine without it, and it's time that Eve grows up a little bit. So Eve, in a fit of emotion, leaves the house, drives all the way to the Lake District, and ends up at this B&B where she's about to stop. I think she's stopping for food, and she sees an ad in the window that says chef wanted, and she's like, well, I can cook and I have some baking experience. So she goes in and has an interview with the owner of the B&B, which ends terribly with her accidentally running him over. Now these two just really don't like each other to start off with. It is like a hate to love kind of dynamic, and the love interest in here is Jacob, who used to work in hotels and has opened his own B&B, and he is autistic and very particular about how the B&B is run, with everything like running smoothly, being orderly, everything being clean, and having like certain procedures and stuff. So Eve pretty much crashes into this environment, and she is all over the place with like really bright colored clothing, really bright colored makeup, a really like, I don't want to say overwhelming, like a large personality, and throws his world into chaos, especially because she ran him over. So I'm currently 160 pages into this, so I'm about halfway through this one. I'm just under halfway actually, and today's section of this one will take me to page 258 with just that to read tomorrow. And I have to say, plot twist, I thought this was the book that I would be giving 5 stars in this. It's actually on my Bookopoly TBR. It's the only one of these books on my Bookopoly TBR, and it is on there to read a 5-star prediction, because I've given the other 2 books 5 stars, no questions asked. But this one, I'm not enjoying. I'm enjoying it a bit, like I don't hate it, but I'm not invested. I don't like Eve all that much. I'm not buying her personality and her as a character as much as I did in Chloe and Danny. I'm not as attracted, like as my own personal preference, I don't think I am as attracted to Jacob as I was to Zaf and Red, and I do actually, I'm just not vibing the dynamic between them. I'm not seeing it, I'm not falling for it, and I'm shocked. I do think it is a very slow start as well. I think this is the longest of the books, maybe, at 375 pages, and of halfway in, I can't say anything overly romantic has happened, and I'm really shocked about this because a lot of people say that Eve is the best. A lot of people say they get better with every single book. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. I thought it was me at first when I read the first section. I was like, not settling into this as quickly as I did to Danny especially, but I got into Chloe pretty quickly as well when I got past the first 100 pages. But I'm now nearly halfway and I'm just not feeling any type of way about it. So that is where I'm at with reading. I'm currently making candles right now, and I do really need to get back to that. I'm running a little bit late today. It's 2 p.m. and I haven't poured a single candle yet, and my restock is going to be at 6 p.m. so I love that for me, and I want to get my work done as fast as possible so that I can catch up with one last stop and then still fit in my buddy read section for Eve Brown today. And I don't think I'm gonna fit Punk 57 in at all today, which I'm really sad about, but I'm gonna go crack on with that. And the next time I see you, I will probably be finishing a book, because with me reading all of these simultaneously, I anticipate that I'm actually going to finish them in pretty quick succession.
We fell in love in the winter. miss you most in the fall. 3 years, 11 months together after one night in Montreal. Red leaves are in the breeze of Nashville, and now I share this bed with someone new. Something's in the way the sunlight's hitting, it's got me thinking about you.
Okay, so I finally finished my first book from this vlog last night, which was One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. Now, I was saying pretty negative things about this yesterday, but I will say that the second half of this book is really good, and the first half of it is just like okay. So I gave it 4 stars in total. If I was being pedantic about it, it's like a 3.5, which is pretty much the same as what Red, White and Royal Blue got. Similar to my criticisms to Red, White and Royal Blue, I do think that it is a little bit too long. I did warm up to the romance throughout this, but I think in terms of characters, like I click with Jane. Jane is like really hot and I really liked Jane. But August I didn't fully mesh with as a main character. One thing that I will say about this that surprised me based on what I was saying at the beginning of this vlog, the sci-fi mystery element in this is actually pretty well done. I was satisfied with the explanation of why everything was going on and the reasoning behind all of that. So I'm really happy that that was like well fleshed out, because I thought it was going to be a case of just like love saves all and it doesn't matter why you're stuck here as long as I can be with you forever kind of deal, which thankfully was not the case. I'm still swallowing to Casey McQuiston. I don't know whether I would say that I like them as an author. They're okay, they're good books, I enjoy them, they're sweet and cute, and they also have like underlying, I don't want to say like serious messages, kind of maybe educational messages under all of like the cute fluffy romance stuff, because Casey McQuiston's books contain a variety of representation, especially when it comes to sexuality and gender. And in this one we also had a little bit about the history of the gay community and the differences between what it was like for members of the LGBTQIA plus community in the 70s in comparison to where we are at. I think this book is set in 2019 and I really enjoyed that. You know, I just really like Jane as a character. I also really like Nico, Mila, Wes and Isaiah. August was okay, like I didn't dislike August, it's just I think with this full cast of dynamic characters, August is the one that I liked the least out of them. But yeah, definitely enjoyed it. It was cute, it had well reasoned sci-fi stuff behind it, which I definitely appreciated, and I liked how elements of the story were connected to each other, and I liked all of the different discussions, I want to say, about the queer community in this from a historical and modern standpoint. We have a lot of the drag scene in here as well. I also love New York as a city. I've been to New York once. I really want to go again. It is my favorite place that I've ever been to, and I really liked seeing New York in here. So that is my first book down, and today I am on a mission because I thought that this month was going to be my best reading month ever. So I had a little bit of a look into that, and if I finish Act Your Age, Eve Brown, which I think I've left in the kitchen, I will be 61 pages under my best reading month ever. So to get that, I have to finish Act Your Age, Eve Brown, and also Punk 57, and I'm pretty confident I can do one. I'm not 100% sure I can do both. I also have my wrap up that I need to film. I was going to film it today. I think I'm going to spend today reading as much as possible. I'm going to do some other bits as well. I'm going to work out, get a shower, maybe do some tidying because I've got some stuff there, and I have a couple of stacks of books around, although they are mainly all of the books that I need for my wrap up tomorrow. But I want to read. I want to finish Eve Brown. I want to finish Punk 57. I want this, and I'm not somebody, like I'm not going to just read a graphic novel after I finished Eve Brown to get myself over that limit. Like if I don't do it genuinely through like what I'm already doing, then it's not happening. So we'll see how I go. But my other 2 books from my Waterstones order arrived, so I thought I would crack them open for you, although I think I've already told you what they are. So the first one was the one that I thought should have come with the others, which is Dragonhaven Book 2 in the Raywell Chronicles by Robin Hobb. These editions, I've never had these editions before, and they're quite sturdy actually. And the second one is on my TBR for August, so I'm going to be reading this one very soon. and that is the Romance Book Club by Lyssa Kay Adams. This one is about a man who is in a failing marriage, and I think he finds out that his wife has been faking her orgasms. I also believe that she files for divorce, and then he ends up going to this book club that's full of guys who read romance in an effort to save his marriage. So Steph recommended this one to me, and I hope I enjoy it. It's 339 pages, so not too big, and I am going to be reading this very soon, next weekend actually.
Maybe it's the long nights and the short cold days, or the rate that the planets change position. Or maybe everything just has a time and place, and that's why you and I are out of season. Just like juniper in summer, oh, we were never meant to last.
Hey, so I finished At Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. I gave it 3 stars. Was not expecting that. Was not this, no. Before I went into this, I just really did not think it was going to be 3 stars. In fact, I thought that this video was going to be entirely 5-star reads for the most part, with maybe One Last Stop kind of predicted being a 4. Punk 57, we'll see how it goes, but I think that's definitely going to be a 4 or a 5. So this one was going to be like my guaranteed 5-star read, and that's what it's on my Bookopoly TBR for, but I just did not vibe with it all that much. I can't even really tell you why. One of the things I realized, because in the epilogue I laughed out loud, and I don't think I've done this throughout this entire book, so I always compare the humour in Talia Hibbert's Brown Sisters books to like a extension of the George Nicholson series by Louise Renison. Like, if you found those books funny, you will find these books funny, because it's a similar kind of like bizarre, unexpected kind of humour, and I don't think I laughed at all up until that last section. Jacob grew on me by the end of this. I ended up really liking him, although not in the same way that I liked Zafar Red. Like, I didn't have all those like fizzy romantic kind of feelings when I was reading this. I will say that the smut was really good, and I did like the smut in here, but in terms of like the, I guess, non-sexual romance feelings, I just wasn't really getting them, and I think it's because I didn't gel with Eve. I like her, she's okay. I didn't gel with her like I did with Chloe or Danny. However, one thing that did happen that surprised me is that I very nearly teared up on the last page of this, but to be honest, I'm hungry. I'm really hungry right now. My dinner is almost ready, and I've also been feeling really cold all day, so maybe I'm hormonal. Maybe that's why I nearly cried. But yeah, I'm shocked, I'm surprised, and I'm sad that I didn't adore this like I adored Chloe and Danny, but it was still pretty decent, and I still enjoyed it, and I will definitely be reading the spin-off series, which I think is going to follow the Montrose siblings, if I'm right, which are present in this book, and I liked what I saw of those, so I'm really excited to crack on with those whenever they're released. I'm assuming the first book will be next year, and it is only just past 6 p.m. and I have not been exclusively reading today. It's not like I've sat here all day and tried to finish this book. I also baked some cookies. I've worked out. To be honest, that's it. That's all I've done today, but I knew that I wanted like a cozy lazy day today, and it has been raining, so the weather is absolutely perfect for me to just sit here and read. I'm wearing a long sleeve again. I have leggings and fluffy socks and a blanket, and I'm still cold, which is why I think it's a hormone thing, even though the weather is significantly more dull than it has been. But it keeps raining, and I'm vibing with the rain sounds on the skylights in the kitchen as well, so I'm having a great time. I'm going to be joining sprints with Steph a little bit later on. I think she's starting them at 7, but I'm gonna have my dinner and watch The Office and take a little bit of a break, and then read Punk 57, and I think I'm actually gonna finish it. I think I'm actually going to finish it today, making July my best reading month ever, and I'm so excited to get back into Punk 57 as well, because as we've discussed all through this vlog, like, that is where my angsty dramatic romance heart wants to be right now. And then after that, I'm not sure what I'm gonna read. I do have some more romance that I was thinking about reading in this vlog, including one thing that's really short, so I could pick that up, but we'll see. I don't want to jinx myself, so we'll see how long it takes me to read Punk 57 and see whether I can do it or not. So you girl did it. I have just completed Punk 57, which makes July 2021 my best reading month ever. My wrap up will be up just before this vlog, so you'll see everything that I've read, but I've only actually read 11 books. But the shortest book I read was Punk 57 at 343 pages, and they were all like standard novels. I think I read everything physically apart from Punk 57 being an ebook, but still there was no like audiobooks, there was no graphics, there was no manga or anything. It was all just like normal standard novels, and it added up to 4,855 pages, and I think my best reading month ever before that was something like 4,565, so I've topped it by like 300. Kind of sad I didn't get to the 5,000 page mark for the first time ever, but I'm still taking this as a win. So Punk 57 is my favorite book of the week. I wouldn't say it's the best book of the week objectively, but based on my own personal taste when it comes to romance, what I look for in romance, because when I'm reading romance I want something like wild and dramatic and angsty with lots of tension and off again, on again, and all of that kind of stuff, and this definitely provided that for me. I will say throughout the second half, some of the conflicts that were arising felt a little bit tedious, like we're just adding extra things into this book to make it just more tense when it was already pretty tense. Some of it just became a little bit like too angsty, but just a slight bit. In comparison to Birthday Girl, which is the only other book I've read by Penelope Douglas, I think Birthday Girl is better, it's better written, it's better constructed plot wise, but this romance like Punk 57 was more to my taste, because the thing with Birthday Girl is that I absolutely adored it, but I don't personally like age gap romances, and that was the thing that brought that down to 4 stars for me. With Punk 57 I liked the type of romance it was, like the type of love interest we had, which was a hot guy with a lip ring and a band, which, oh my god, that was like the guy of my dreams when I was a teenager. That was all I wanted, just like a guy in a band with a lip ring and like floppy hair. So really fulfilled some of my teenage fantasies reading this one. And yeah, it's obviously has some problematic content in terms of being a bully romance and them being truly awful to each other. There's also homophobic slurs in this, not within the romance. It is to do with bullying that is throughout the novel and just like awful people in the school that the main characters go to, and there's also themes and talk of sexual assault, so do be cautious of that if you go into it. But I've read 2 books from Penelope Douglas now. I've given them both 4 stars, and I think from this point, because Punk 57 was definitely the book I wanted to read from her next after Birthday Girl, I think from this point I'm going to be going into the Devil's Night series, which I am so excited for. We did it. We completed all of the books that we wanted to by the end of the month. I will say it is like 1 AM now, so I wasn't technically within July, but I count the day as ending as when I go to bed, and at midnight I had 30 pages of this left. So there was no way I wasn't just going to finish it to count it into my July reading. So tomorrow I have to film, edit and upload my wrap up all in one day, because I didn't want to do it without having read all of the books that I was in the middle of. So I have all of that on, but I've had Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman for quite some time since it was released, and I really like the Heartstopper comics. They are just like really sweet, really cute, like male young adult romance about these 2 boys, Nick and Charlie, and I think Charlie is already openly queer and Nick doesn't even realize that he may have feelings for boys until he starts to befriend Charlie, and it does deal with some heavy topics. The last volume, Volume 3, had content warnings for mental health. I think it was depression, self-harm, and also eating disorders, but aside from that it's just this really sweet wholesome relationship between Nick and Charlie. So I think tomorrow I am going to pick that up, because it is originally a webcomic, and when it is bound into physical print the frames are really big, so even though they're quite chunky, they're about 300 pages. It only takes like 30 minutes to an hour to read one of those, so I think I will pick up that tomorrow after I've sorted my wrap up out, and we will finish off the vlog with that, because I could end it here, but at the same time I read Volume 4 of Heartstopper and I'm up to date, so I might as well do that while I have a day tomorrow, and I've already wrapped up all of the books that I'm currently working on. So I'm like a third-ish of the way through Heartstopper Volume 4. It's so cute. I think I'm gonna die. Like, my heart. Good evening, my friends. So I have just whizzed right on through Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman. This was also a gift from Megan, so thank you very much, Megan, for gifting this to me. I had a fab time, gave it 5 stars. Oh, the only 5 stars of this vlog, actually. Interesting. So I didn't necessarily expect to give this 5 stars. I gave the first 2 5 stars and then the third one 4 stars. Wasn't a huge fan of that one. Well, I still was. I gave it 4 stars. Just didn't hit me the same as the other ones have. But this is just adorable. Shout out to Nick's mum, who is just the sweetest bean. But this is just really sweet, really cute, really heartwarming. I absolutely adore it. It makes me feel good. This one was a little bit more hard-hitting, delving into the difficult topics that were introduced in the last volume. So content warnings in here once again for eating disorders, mental health, especially depression and anxiety, and also self-harm. But this is just so good and so sweet, and the thing that I really enjoy about it is that Nick and Charlie are in high school. They're British. Well, Nick's going into 6th form in this one, but I do feel like it is an accurate representation of school at that time, and the text conversations that they have with each other are text conversations that I used to have with stupid boys when I was like 15, 16. So I do think that it is a very good representation of the teenage experience in the UK, and I love it. If you're sad, pick up Heartstopper, because it's just honestly the sweetest little male young adult romance that there ever was. So that brings us to the end of this vlog. I think we had a good variety of romance actually this week, because I had male comic, female new adult romance with like a little bit of smutty stuff, but it's not quite fade to black, but it's like explicit. And then we had adult contemporary rom-com with Eve Brown that does have like explicit sexual content, and a dramatic angsty new adult romance in the form of Punk 57. So a good selection, I want to say, of romance. Had some very unexpected results, because Heartstopper is now like my favorite book that I've read, followed by Punk 57, and then One Last Stop, then Eve. I did not see Eve coming in dead last in this video. But that is it for my little romance reading vlog. I am going to be reading romance next weekend, so I'm going to be doing a little bit of a mini vlog next week, which should be interesting. I'm really excited about it because it's a vlog. It requires me having to like live my life a certain way, I guess, for the purpose of the vlog, and I'm actually really excited. Curtis and I have booked to go and do something in that weekend that I'm also really excited about. But aside from that, for the bulk of next week's vlog, I am going to be reading book club books, so probably Witch Shadow and Tall Bones. So keep your eyes peeled for that if you're interested, and also that little project that I'm working on that you will see a little bit later than the rest of the vlog. But aside from that, guys, I do hope you've liked this vlog. If you've made it this far, if you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it, and subscribe if you wanna, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you will go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.